This message didn't stumble into your life. It was divinely dispatched. You're not watching this by coincidence. You're here because heaven has been whispering. And now it's time to hear clearly. Something in your spirit has already felt the shift. The old things are unraveling. The familiar patterns no longer fit. That's not confusion, it's confirmation. You're being positioned for something greater. What's coming next won't look like what you've seen before. This isn't about fame, clout, or surface-level connections. This is about divine alignment. God is orchestrating a move, not just geographically, but spiritually. He's not just changing your surroundings, He's reordering your relationships. Because the next door that opens in your life, it's not a place, it's a person. And they're carrying a piece of your assignment. So listen, if you've felt overlooked, left out, or like the silence around you has been stretching too long, that silence is sacred. It's the sound of divine strategy. You're not forgotten, you're being prepared. This is your moment of prophetic clarity, and if your spirit is lighting up right now, that's your confirmation. You're not just going to the next level, you are the next level. Let this be your activation. Engage. Lock in. Share this with the ones you know are being shifted too, because this isn't just a message, it's a move. And if you're really ready for what's coming, drop your number in the comments. Your 55, your yes, your signal that you're in position. That's not superstition, it's agreement with heaven. This is your season of divine positioning. Something is breaking open. Something is aligning. And by the time this is over, you won't just have heard the word, you'll feel the shift. Let's go. There is often a quiet dismantling before a meaningful alliance steps into your path. This isn't rejection, it's refinement. It feels like being on the edge of something invisible, where familiar rhythms lose their beat, and once vivid connections dissolve into shadows. Routines lose their grip. Laughter withers into silence. People you once leaned on no longer respond with warmth. And in the aftermath, uncertainty lingers. What's shifting? What changed? What is being taken away? But absence isn't always emptiness. It can be the echo of something sacred being constructed behind the scenes. A purposeful bond, still unseen, is in motion. The space must be cleared for it. Outdated dynamics, though once comforting, are gently peeled away to make room for something aligned, not merely attached. Interactions that once provided comfort are now being reevaluated for truth. This isn't about punishment, it's about positioning. What's being released could not sustain what is being called forth. Feel God's love stirring within you. Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You are made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. The silence isn't neglect, it's tuning. When everything external quiets down, the inner compass gets sharper. This solitude is where shallow allegiance is exposed and deep resonance is born. Authentic connection isn't built on applause or access, but on mutual purpose. That kind of clarity only surfaces in empty rooms where pretense has no audience. Patterns repeat across time. A wanderer studying the stars before meeting the one who would map his course. A woman rebuilding from loss before finding the voice that echoes her vision. A teacher walking deserted hills before choosing companions who would change the world. These are not tales of loss, they're thresholds. What the world might label as isolation, the soul recognizes as instruction. Because what's forming needs the clearest, truest version of you. the version not diluted by constant feedback or shaped by obligation, the one who's not performing for presence but prepared for purpose. These moments of separation are not stalls, they're alignments, a deep, internal calibration of values, of vision, of readiness. So when the one who carries a bridge to your next chapter arrives, you won't be looking backward, mistaking closure for connection. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. John 15:2. Sometimes before a tree bears its best harvest, the gardener has to come through with his shears. It doesn't mean the tree is dying, it means it's about to live on a higher level. That cutting away, that wasn't cruelty, that was care. You've been asking God to take you higher, but here's the truth. Before he elevates, he eliminates. That's the part nobody shouts about. See, progress has a price, and one of the hardest payments you'll ever make is letting go of what once made you feel safe. It's watching pieces of your comfort zone peel away while you're standing on ground that feels unfamiliar. And chosen one, I know that hurts. I know the silence is loud. I know the slow fade of friendships can feel like rejection, but it's not. It's refinement. Growth rarely comes wrapped in applause. Sometimes it's wrapped in silence, in distance, in unanswered texts, in invitations that never come again. There was a time when that circle felt right. Those conversations filled your tank. Those laughs carried you through. But now, things feel different. The rhythm has shifted. The connection, once so smooth, has become choppy. And where there was once flow, now there's friction. And you wonder, what happened? Let me tell you, nothing went wrong. Something went right. The anointing on your life started to rise, and what wasn't assigned to your future had to fall off. Purpose has weight. It presses down on everything superficial. It exposes what can't carry you where God is leading you. So when you feel the pull to isolate, when old relationships start to drift, when the room starts to feel smaller, don't fight it. Don't panic. That's not loss. It's lifting. It's not punishment. It's positioning. God isn't taking people from you. He's making space for who must come next. There are seasons where the divine whisper is, walk alone for a while. Not because he's punishing you, but because he's preparing you. Because what's ahead requires clarity. It requires focus. And not everyone can walk in that level of clarity with you. You can't afford to carry baggage from the last season into the doorway of your next one. That heaviness has to go. The crowd has to thin. The old wineskins can't carry this new wine. And yes, you'll miss them. You'll scroll past memories and wonder if maybe you should have reached out one more time. But deep down, you know, it ended for a reason. Not out of anger, not out of hate, but because your spirit outgrew the space. You didn't change in a bad way. You evolved in a necessary way. And they weren't bad people. They just weren't called to the next leg of the journey. Chosen one, listen to me. The pruning isn't personal, it's prophetic. When heaven prepares to launch you into assignment, it strips you of everything that isn't aligned. And that includes people. God loves them, but he knows they can't go with you. You're being pulled into purpose, and the weight of destiny can't be shared with everyone. So let it fall. Let them walk. Let it fade. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Because where you're going, there's not just a change of scenery. There's a change of dimension. This isn't about geography. This is about glory. God isn't just changing your circle. He's changing your capacity. And when he gets through with this pruning season, what's left will be pure, powerful, and purposeful. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. So hold your head high. Wipe your tears. Bless what was and make room for what's on the way. Because this right here is the sound of you stepping into the next chapter of your calling. You didn't lose them. You leveled up. And the harvest that's coming, it'll make the separation make sense. Every goodbye was a setup for greater. Now walk like you're chosen, because you are. Not every companion was built for the stretch of the path ahead. Some were only meant to run with you through the opening miles. Keep them in gratitude, not in guilt. Holding on too tightly can stall what's meant to flow freely. There's a certain kind of silence that arrives before significant turning points. The hush before the door opens. And in that silence, the unnecessary is removed not out of cruelty, but out of care. Across stories that echo through time, the same pattern emerges. Before the rise, there's a refining. A voyager once set sail, alone, before discovering who was meant to anchor him. A leader stood in a crowded room, yet only a few truly understood the mission. As the climb intensified, the company lessened. Not by accident, but by necessity. Depth doesn't accommodate density. There is a thinning that makes space for alignment, not just attachment. When your heart is full of God's love, it's a sign to give. By tapping the super thank you button and offering $100 or more, you become a vessel of His grace. Your generosity can change lives, reaching hearts you may never meet. You have a divine purpose, and this act of faith carries His light forward. Give now, and may His blessings surround you always. So when the cast of characters in your life begins to change without warning, resist the urge to mourn what's simply being rearranged. What's falling away isn't just about who left, it's about what's coming. The emptiness is not a void, it's a signal. The departure isn't always a disruption, it's often divine construction. Space must be made for what's purposed to enter, and the ones who arrive next won't compete with your path. They'll confirm it. Let the exits teach you, not tether you. What remains will be lighter, sharper, more aligned. This isn't abandonment. It's a refining fire. Let what cannot go, go. Let what must stay, stay. The journey ahead was never meant to be crowded. Breakthrough doesn't always arrive wrapped in new scenery. It often comes dressed as a person. The shift that changes everything may not be marked by a change in surroundings, but by an encounter. Doors don't always open through locations. They swing wide when the right voice speaks, the right hand reaches, the right presence enters. While many wait for signs in external movement, the most significant transitions often begin when alignment walks in, wearing flesh and blood. There are moments when the course of life turns, not because a path was taken, but because a person appeared. Not a title, not a crowd, a soul who somehow unlocks another layer of your purpose. This isn't about coincidence, it's about calibration. It's the unseen orchestration, where one life carries the answer to another's silent questions. Where loyalty isn't loud, but layered with quiet, pivotal obedience that shifts everything beneath the surface. A journey is often shaped by more than the terrain. It's defined by the travelers placed alongside it. The right companion doesn't compete with your direction. They complement your rhythm. They don't interrupt your evolution. They elevate it. They may not have a spotlight, but they carry significance. Their presence isn't noise, it's clarity. Their wisdom isn't borrowed. It's born of insight meant to be shared at just the right moment, with just the right weight. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Throughout time, those who stepped into destiny didn't do it alone. Their turning points weren't just landmarks, they were lifelines. The hidden architect behind their unfolding story didn't just redraw boundaries, he introduced catalysts, individuals who didn't crave attention but carried the fuel for the next phase. Some came to hold up weary arms, others came to sharpen vision, and still others simply to remind them they were not forgotten in the chaos. True alignment isn't about quantity, it's about resonance. The ones sent into this space of purpose don't confuse their presence with possession. They don't fear your growth. They don't shrink from your strength. They honor the weight of your becoming, not with flattery, but with understanding. They're fluent in your silence. They see beyond the surface. They carry insight not as advice, but as confirmation. And they don't show up to detour you. They arrive to unlock what's been dormant. So when familiar faces fade and unfamiliar voices start to echo with strange familiarity, lean in. Something deeper is happening. A recalibration, not of places, but of people. These are not just chance meetings. These are blueprints in motion. This isn't about relocation in the way the world defines it. It's about relational restoration, realignment, and reintroduction to the next version of your mission. Sometimes, destiny arrives not as a destination, but as a name you hadn't spoken yesterday, who somehow carries a piece of your tomorrow. Purpose-driven connections don't arrive to fill emotional gaps. They arrive to fulfill divine blueprints. These aren't casual links built on shared interests or momentary ease. They're intricately timed alignments, designed not to soothe your wounds, but to summon your potential. They come wrapped in responsibility, not routine. When these people enter your life, things shift. Not because of what they say, but because of what they stir. They don't orbit around your comfort. They orbit around your calling. The ones assigned to walk beside destiny aren't always the easiest to receive. They come speaking language your soul has long forgotten, igniting dreams you tried to bury. They aren't afraid to interrupt your delay with truth. They don't flatter, they sharpen. Their presence feels weighty, not because of who they are alone, but because of what they carry for your journey. These allies aren't here to babysit stagnation. They were sent to disturb your excuses, to awaken the dormant places within you and demand movement. Their role isn't decorative, it's catalytic. They may challenge your pace, your posture, even your plans, but they do so with divine intention. You'll recognize them not by applause, but by how they mirror what's been silently growing inside you. These partnerships aren't random collisions, they are divine commissions. The connection isn't just emotional resonance, it's sacred assignment. The synergy they bring doesn't inflate your ego, it realigns your direction. This pattern echoes through the lives of those who've carried weighty missions. Their advancement was never the result of isolated striving. It was the outcome of spirit-led collaboration. Behind every great leap was a voice of alignment. Behind every act of courage, a presence of reinforcement. Whether in the form of insight, intercession, or challenge, the right person held the right key to the next phase. Sometimes the answer to a long-standing prayer arrives not through circumstance, but through conversation, not through a platform, but through a person. They won't compete with your growth, they'll cultivate it. They won't cling to your gift, they'll protect your becoming. And when they come, it won't feel like discovery, it'll feel like recognition. Something in you will respond, as though destiny has finally introduced itself through another soul. What links these kinds of partnerships isn't shared taste, but shared timing. Their presence is proof of an unfolding plan that's bigger than either of you alone. And when you build with these kinds of people, those who challenge without shaming, who partner without possessing, the impact multiplies. What one could not carry alone, two now move with power. So if certain names are fading and new faces are emerging, take notice. The shift isn't just emotional, it's directional. Sacred collaborations are being arranged. These aren't people who simply show up. They arrive carrying momentum. And their presence is not just support, it's strategy. This isn't about networking. This is about heaven's architecture. When a divine partner steps into your story, the atmosphere changes, and together you don't just chase purpose, you advance it. There's a difference between what pulls your attention and what carries your purpose. Not every voice deserves your agreement. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. Sometimes what looks like favor is actually a test of focus. As alignment approaches, misalignment tries to masquerade. Imitations often arrive first, polished, persuasive, and dangerously close to what you hoped for. But resemblance doesn't equal revelation. Some connections aren't here to contribute. They're here to confuse. Just before elevation, clarity becomes essential. This isn't about how something feels in the moment. It's about what it's rooted in. Excitement can scream, but wisdom whispers. Surface impressions can lie, but spiritual insight never does. Before committing to anyone's presence in your purpose, stop and ask the deeper question. Does this match what was promised to my spirit? Many journeys derail not from lack of calling, but from alignment with the wrong influence. Those who mirror desire, but blur direction. There are people who sound right, but sow chaos, who agree with your dreams, but can't carry the weight of your destiny, who show up at your doorstep not to walk with you, but to keep you still. These aren't always toxic or malicious. Sometimes they're simply misassigned, and misassigned connections can drain more than resistance ever could. Time, trust, and spiritual energy get swallowed in spaces never meant to be occupied. Real guidance means asking, what's beneath the surface? Are you being led forward or lured sideways? Is this connection breathing life into your mission, or is it fogging your focus? Peace doesn't beg to be felt. It settles. Confusion, on the other hand, always demands you explain what doesn't quite sit right. The most dangerous distractions don't scream. They blend in. And they do so with words that sound supportive and intentions that seem kind. Impactful partnerships will carry correction, not just compliments. They will guard your flame, not compete with your fire. Their presence brings not only affirmation, but alignment. When something is genuinely assigned to your life, it won't need to manipulate to stay close. It won't push urgency or prey on your loneliness. Instead, it will reflect consistency, conviction, and spiritual confirmation, not just emotional chemistry. Real partnership won't merely echo your voice, it will sharpen your hearing. The evidence isn't in the applause, it's in the fruit. Do you see growth, direction, and peace? Or are you constantly doubting, striving, second-guessing? When something is from the divine, it will not drain your discernment, it will deepen it. The mark of the authentic is clarity. The mark of the false is confusion that feels like comfort. So pause before reaching out. Still your thoughts before responding. Wait long enough to tell the difference between a distraction that flatters and a connection that fulfills. Some delays are actually grace in disguise, giving you time to see clearly before you bind yourself too deeply. What looks like the answer could be the detour if you're not listening with spiritual ears. One misplaced alliance can cost seasons. One God-ordained one can multiply your momentum. Let stillness be your compass. Let truth be your filter. Let peace, not pressure, lead the way. Because this season demands accuracy. And discernment isn't optional. It's the gatekeeper between stagnation and destiny. When your heart is full of God's love, it's a sign to give. By tapping the super thank you button and offering $100 or more, you become a vessel of His grace. Your generosity can change lives, reaching hearts you may never meet. You have a divine purpose, and this act of faith carries His light forward. Give now, and may His blessings surround you always. Mutuality is the signature of sacred connection. Purpose-woven relationships aren't built on dependence or one-sided effort. They don't orbit around ego or emotional need. They are fueled by mission. When two lives are divinely linked, there's an unseen exchange, insight for insight, strength for strength, purpose igniting purpose. One does not carry all the fire, one does not bear all the weight. Both bring oil, both bring spark. In these God-aligned pairings, neither person remains the same. Growth becomes the natural byproduct. One brings clarity in the storm, the other steadiness in the climb. These are not spectators, they are builders. They don't merely applaud your progress, they hold the ladder. They don't echo what's safe, they amplify what's sacred. Each one is both seed and soil to the other, nurturing, drawing out, and multiplying what lies beneath the surface. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. True spiritual connection doesn't drain, it exchanges. It's not flattery, it's formation. It isn't about who leads more often or speaks louder. It's about rhythm, not rank. Some days you'll lift, other days you'll lean. The synergy isn't in sameness. It's in the way differences sharpen one another without swallowing each other whole. There is room for both truth and tenderness, challenge and comfort, accountability and affirmation. Across stories that shape destiny, this pattern is repeated. Someone arrives not to overshadow, but to equip, not to fix, but to co-labor. Legacy is rarely a solo endeavor. It's passed like a torch, not hoarded like a trophy. The brilliance of one lights the pathway for the other, and something greater than either could imagine begins to rise from their union, not through competition, but through collaboration. When a divine connection is present, ego takes a back seat to impact. There is no need for pretense, only presence. You'll know it's sacred not because it's always easy, but because it always elevates. There will be correction that doesn't crush, support that doesn't smother, and belief that doesn't break. These people recognize not just where you are, but where you're called to be, and they speak to that part of you, even when it's asleep. Such partnerships aren't limited to romance. They take shape as iron friendships, mentoring bonds, spiritual alliances, each one threaded with intentionality. They see through your fog. They echo what heaven already declared over you. And most of all, they won't let you settle in places meant only for passing. When alignment is right, your dreams stretch wider, your resolve strengthens, and your purpose gains momentum. That's how divine assignment works. It moves in both directions. You pour, and you're poured into. You give, and you're grown. Their mission won't flourish without you, and yours will expand because of them. These are not casual connections. They are divine infrastructure. And when they arrive, they don't just change how you walk. They change where you're able to go, together. Alignment is already in motion, and sacred connections are stepping into position. When your spirit walks beside those assigned to your journey, it doesn't just shift your surroundings, it recalibrates your entire atmosphere. These aren't ordinary encounters. They are catalysts coded with timing and truth. Stay alert in the waiting, steady in the unseen. What carries your next chapter won't miss its cue. It will arrive not just through location, but through divine resonance, through those who mirror your mission and match your movement. Keep your soul anchored, your perception sharpened, and your posture expectant. Because what's woven into your destiny is already finding its way to you, not by force, but by divine rhythm.